everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rosie and I graduated from the University of Oxford in 2019 despite the fact that this says 2018. I did a degree in Archaeology and Anthropology and this is part 2 of my Weird Oxford Traditions series. So if you haven't seen part 1, I will link it in the pinned comment, and this one is going to be specifically about exams. Number 1 is Sub-Fusc. Sub-Fusc looks like this. It's what I'm wearing here, it's what we matriculate in, it's what we graduate in, and it's what we have to sit every exam in. So yes, we have an exam uniform. This traditional dress was first referenced in the university statute book in 1636, though it is probably much older and relates to like the monastic beginnings of the university and how all the scholars originally were theologians, so it likely relates to that in some way. But basically, we can't sit an exam without wearing this. So we can't turn up at the exam hall with our Sub-Fusc wrong, because we'll get turned around if we don't have the right colour skirt, the right colour suit, the right colour top. If you're a girl, you have to wear tights. Basically, you can't enter or leave the exam hall without all of the correct pieces of clothing. It's very weird, but to be honest, there's two sides to it. So on one hand, it is hot and sweaty, and usually when you sit the exams, you don't want to be wearing a suit. For boys especially, to have to wear a suit jacket and trousers is not fun, and they do change the rules. When it gets too hot, they sometimes say, right, you don't have to wear the top layer of your Sub-Fusc.
I'm not even sure all of the staff enforce the same rules or really know all of the rules, so just make sure you check the website before you go to your exam if you are going to Oxford. In finals, like, I didn't want to take any chances because these were my exams to get my grades for my whole degree, but I know in first year it was just so hot that I didn't wear tights, and in fact I wore them in the first one and took them off halfway through. Another thing, actually, funny story, in my first year exams, in my first exam in first year, I was absolutely boiling. Like, it was ridiculously hot. It was 30 odd degrees, like above 30 degrees for sure. And basically I took it upon myself to undo a few buttons, realised no one cared, so I just kept on doing them to the point where I literally had my shirt like completely open but pulled together. No one cared about that, it was fine. So then the next day I thought, you know what, I'm going to prepare for this. I put a vest top on under my shirt so that I could take the shirt off while I was working and it would be less obscene than having my bra out. I was told to put the shirt back on, so basically as long as the shirt is over your shoulders, it doesn't matter what you're showing, which I found a bit odd, but I also then obviously made it worse for myself because I was sitting in a vest top and a shirt, so don't be like me. Don't do that.
On the plus side, it really does get you in the zone and it makes you feel special, it makes you feel part of something, you know. It puts you all in the same boat, like everyone's turning up in the same outfit. It just makes you concentrate better. The only issue with that is that after first year, so in the first year exams you all wear the same. In the third year exams or the second year exams if you're a scientist, you might have slightly different Sub-Fusc to other people, because if you get a first in your first or second year exams, then in your third year exams you get to wear this big gown called a scholar's gown, which looks like this. I did not have one of those, I just had this one, which is a commoner's gown. But it could perhaps intimidate you if you sit in an exam hall with all scholars' gowns and you're the only commoner's gown. Mostly the other way around, there's more commoner's gowns than scholars, hence the name commoners. Number 2 is the Carnations. This is a really odd one. So in your first exam, you wear a white carnation on your lapel on your gown. In your middle exams, you wear a pink one, and in your final exam, you wear a red one. What these to me mean is just where you are at in your exams. So if you wear a white one, everyone knows this is your first one. They know to be a bit like, are you okay? Not bother you that much. In the pink ones, it's less strict, less stressful because you've done some already. And in the final one with the red, everyone knows you're about to finish your exams. You could be about to finish your whole degree. And it also highlights the people who need trashing, which is another thing I'll discuss in a second. So there was a possible beginnings of this tradition within several decades ago. It's not an old tradition, no one thinks, because it's not been like written down in old text, but it's possible that it comes from a tradition of leaving a white carnation in a red inkwell so that over time it eventually turns white to pink to red. This one's debated because when this tradition is thought to have come about, no one used inkwells anymore, and red ink isn't also something you write with really anyway. Another possible slightly morbid reason for this is apparently that you are bleeding out your scholarly heart, and as your exams finish, more and more blood is spilled into the eventually red flower. Yes, gross. Finally is a theory based on the fact that you are losing your exam virtue. Again, weird. Really weird. White is pure, red is, well, red. If you've ever done Of Mice and Men, Curly's wife can answer that for you. Number three is trashing. So after your final exam, you get trashed. I love it. It puts you in the centre of attention. It's almost like a rite of passage at the end of your exams that really says you are finished. Most people, this only happens at the end of first year and at the very end of their whole degree. Scientists, it does happen like every year. So I've met a few scientists where the novelty's worn off and they don't bother doing it in the second year. For third years, this is a really big thing. People, your friends and family as well, will wait with you. I'll put a video of mine actually. Will wait for you at the barriers and you come out to them and they throw shaving foam traditionally, silly string, confetti. Glitter used to be a thing, but not so much anymore because of its impact on the environment. And champagne, but like cheap Prosecco. No one, well, some people, but we definitely didn't throw champagne in my friendship group, put it that way. Eco-trashings are actually now becoming more of a tradition. So a group, I think it's like a society actually, a committee, have an eco-trashing page and they basically sell really cheap eco-friendly resources to trash with instead of things that will harm the environment. Now number 4 is river jumping post exams. I never did this because it was cold and rainy both times I finished exams in first year and third year. But again, here's a video. What ideally you would like to do after your exam is get trashed, it'd be nice and hot, and then you go and jump in the river and that is the end of your degree, you're done. If you're lucky, you'll get to jump in front of a punt. I'm literally filming this video from a punt, so I was living through these other people. I didn't get to do this because it was raining. It's not the best thing for the environment, you know, especially if you haven't got the eco-trashing stuff, which is why the eco-trashing is such a big thing now as well. But you do jump into the river and the river is full of bits for quite some time afterwards. Now the final thing is number 5. It isn't really a tradition, but it's more weird in that Oxford has a specific building called exam schools, so it is a purpose-built building. I think it's one of the only purpose-built exam halls in the country. Like, it's not used for anything else other than like some lectures and a freshers fair, but originally it was just built for exams. Like, the decoration shows people doing exams, and if you've never been in exam schools before your exams, I can guarantee you will sit there for half the time staring at the ceiling because it is insane. This is a really old building. It's got paintings, carvings. As an archaeology student, how can I not stare at this? I thought it was amazing, and some people don't actually sit their exams in here in first year because there's too many people, but I was really lucky in that I got to sit all of them in there, and it is a really big part of it actually because everyone knows this place is for exams, so it fits the whole mood. You're in exam mode. You're here, you're in exam schools, and before you go in actually you stand in a big marquee. I should have put this as an extra one, but we're just gonna go with it here. When you arrive for exams, there's a marquee outside exam schools. Basically they have a courtyard, and during exams it's just a marquee. You go inside, you put all of your stuff down, you hang it up, you get ready to go in. I've stood there looking through my cards as they do these announcements, because you have to find out where your name is on a board and then they announce what door to go in if you're in each room and things, and you go then into exam schools. But it's just thinking about it gives me the shivers. And that is 5 more weird traditions that happen at Oxford, and if I can think of any more then I'll do another one, but just give me a thumbs up if you actually want another video, subscribe for more content and so you don't miss out on the next one that may or may not materialise. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!